SureDot.com here with Bob Meyrowitz, founder of the original UFC. Now you've come back into the sport with Yamma. You had your first show tonight. Tell us your initial thoughts after the show.
Well, I'm thrilled. I mean, it was so exciting. We conceived the idea of the Yamma, and you make it up in your mind, and then it starts to get drawn, and then somebody starts to work on it. Now, for the first time, we really saw people compete in it. It was, for me personally, really thrilling. I hope everybody who watched this was excited about it. I know that on SureDog and a lot of other places, there were a lot of threads, a lot of blogs. People had all kinds of criticisms and a lot of thoughts. This was a great night of fights. We're going to do another one in June. I think it is just a new way for the sport to be.
The Yamma seemed like it favored the wrestlers a lot tonight. It seemed like it made it easier to take guys down, and the one-round fights kind of seemed like the wrestlers got on top and kind of wanted to just eke out that first round to get to the later rounds. Is that something you foresaw, or is that something maybe you have to tweak something in the future?
Well, we didn't foresee it. I'll be honest with you. I thought just the opposite. And I think we have to go look at it. But Oleg Dokhtarov, before tonight, said to me, it is going to take 5 shows before we really know how this works. So I think we got to see one idea of it tonight. Before we tweak it, I think we should see 2 or 3 more times, and then we see really what happens. It's different, and now we have to figure it all out. But I thought it was a great night of fights. That last fight was incredible.
Now, do you think the heavyweights might have had something to play with that? They are a little bit slower, usually tend to have a little bit worse cardio. Maybe the middleweights come out and it's a little more fast-paced?
I like that question because June 21st you'll see the middleweight tournament, and we'll see what happens with middleweights. I think that is really an important part of it. You can't just look at it with one weight class. You have to see the different weight classes. Next one we're going to have a middleweight tournament, then we'll have a lightweight tournament. After the lightweight tournament, then let's you and I sit down and talk. Now,
this is your first foray back in since mixed martial arts has reestablished itself kind of as a big sport. What were your expectations coming into this, and do you think you guys met them?
Well, for me, the real thing was to see that the Yamma would work. And for me, it was really just very nerve-wracking. What if it doesn't work? And I don't know what doesn't work would have meant, but this was something made up. And now you're seeing it real. Now you're seeing real guys go in and really risk their lives, their careers, everything doing this. So it is thrilling that it worked. That's the main thing. I'm also happy to say we had yet another great night of fights and no one got hurt.
Now, going forward, what kind of revenue streams do you have to keep this going? We know pay-per-view is the big money maker in this. How many pay-per-views do you guys have to do to keep this going?
Well, the key thing is not how many pay-per-views you do, but how successful each one is. And I think this was our first. We have a long way to go to really build up that Yamma name, really get people to understand what the Yamma is all about, how it works, why it's better. And we saw 2 stars created tonight. I mean, Travis View was unbelievable. Chris was unbelievable. That last fight was really what warriors are all about. That's what the tournament is all about, creating something like that. But I'll tell you this, Pat Smith looked great tonight. Oleg Dokhtarov looked great tonight. There's a lot to come in June.
You mentioned creating stars. That's obviously something you have to do going forward. The Masters stars, the stars of the past, they're not going to be around forever. How can you build a company on those guys, or do you have to build these new stars?
I want to build the new stars. That's the future of this whole sport. It is an interesting thing that when we owned the UFC, we had a whole bunch of stars. We had people, you had the Gracies, you had Shamrock, you had Randy Couture, you had Tito Ortiz. These were all the stars we had. Since then, there have been almost no stars created.
The same people are still big stars, you're right. But reality TV has been the vehicle for other people to make money in this sport. Is that something you guys, being on TV, is that something you guys consider as a viable option for you to move forward?
We don't look at that as a necessary option. It's a potential, but that's really not where we're looking at. What we're looking at is really going this star route, having stars, having fights people want to see. That's what I think we can do. That's what tonight was the first level of.
And what do we see June 21st?
June 21st is a middleweight 8-man single elimination tournament. We'll have one female fight, and we'll have one Legends fight.
Who? Any of the names you can mention now?
The only thing I can tell you is I'm not fighting.